the biggest ridiculous question, especially to ask an economist, but also a human being. What's the meaning of life?
I hope you've gotten the answer to that from somebody else. I think we're all still working on that one. But what is it? I actually learned a lot from my son, Luke, and he's 19 now, but he's always loved philosophy, and he reads way more sophisticated philosophy than I do. I once took him to Oxford, and he spent the whole time like pulling all these obscure books down and reading them. And a couple of years ago, we had this argument, and he was trying to convince me that hedonism was the ultimate, meaning of life, just pleasure seeking. And
well, how old was he at the time?
17. So. But he made a really good intellectual argument for it too. And
of course,
but it just didn't strike me as right. And I think that while I am kind of a utilitarian, I do think we should do the greatest good for the greatest number. That's just too shallow. And I think I've convinced myself that real happiness doesn't come from seeking pleasure. It's kind of it's ironic. Like if you really focus on being happy, I think it doesn't work. You got to be doing something bigger. I think the analogy I sometimes use is, when you look at a dim star in the sky, if you look right at it, it kind of disappears, but you have to look a little to the side, and then the parts of your retina that are better at absorbing light, can pick it up better. It's the same thing with happiness. I think you need to sort of find something other goal, some meaning in life, and that ultimately makes you happier than if you go squarely at just pleasure. And so for me, the kind of research I do that I think is trying to change the world, make the world a better place. And I'm not like an evolutionary psychologist, but my guess is that our brains are wired not just for pleasure, but we're social animals, and we're wired to help others. And ultimately, that's something that's really deeply rooted in our psyche. And if we do help others, if we do, or at least feel like we're helping others, our reward systems kick in, and we end up being more deeply satisfied than if we just do something selfish and shallow.
Beautifully put. I don't think there's a better way to end it. Erik, you were one of the people when I first showed up at MIT that made me proud to be at MIT. So it's so sad that you're now at Stanford, but I'm sure you'll do wonderful things at Stanford as well. I can't wait till future books, and people should definitely read.
Well, thank you so much. And I think we're all part of the invisible college, as we call it. We're all part of this intellectual and human community where we all can learn from each other. It doesn't really matter physically where we are so much anymore.
Beautiful. Thanks for talking today.
My pleasure.